It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas, so I decided to dress up like a disco ball. Yeah, come on! Hey everybody, hope you're having a great day today. I have an arrangement of It's Beginning to Look a Lot Like Christmas that I made for you, and it's perfect for, I think, the intermediate player. So if you have your chords underneath your fingers and you want to take things to the next level with some different bar chords, this one is for you. I made a fun cover play along on YouTube, so if you want to hear the entire arrangement, I'm going to link that in the cards above in the description box below. This video is also in collaboration with Black Mountain Picks, and I'm going to be using one of their featured light thumb picks, which is perfect for the ukulele. There are a lot of thumb picks where they just have, they're molded out of one piece of plastic, and they squeeze the life out of your thumb, where this one has a spring. It's going to fit a variety of thumbs from small, medium, large, doesn't matter. It's going to fit you, and it fits securely and snugly, and it doesn't squeeze the life out of your thumb. I think that that's a huge advantage to this. Other thumb picks that I've tried, they're either too big, they're too small, and I just get really uncomfortable and I don't want to play them anymore. But I like the way that they bring out the tone of the instrument, especially when I'm finger picking, plucking, things like that. This is great. So thank you so much again to Black Mountain Picks for sponsoring this video. I'm going to link their product in the description box below. That link is not affiliated. So the finger picking pattern revolves around the chords. First, I'm going to start with the C chord. My thumb is going to pluck the C string, and then I'm going to take my fingers 1 and 2 on my plucking hand. I'm going to pluck the A and the E strings and then tap. So it'll be thumb, fingers, tap, and then I pluck the A and the E strings again. So thumb, fingers, tap, fingers. Then I move on to a D minor and I pluck the same strings with the same pattern. Thumb, fingers, tap, fingers. So I'll do that again. Thumb, fingers, tap, fingers. And then I go back to a C chord. Now this is a fun one. This is a fun little riff, pull-off riff. Like that. So what happens is that I'm going to take my finger number 3, place that on the 3rd fret of the A string, and then right behind it is going to be finger number 2. So right, 3rd fret, 2nd fret. And I'm going to pluck the string and then pull off. But you see how this is in position right here? I have to make sure that this portion of my ukulele is anchored, because if I try to do it this way, I feel like my ukulele neck is going to fall. So make sure that this finger is basically the resting point of your ukulele neck. And then I'm going to use my thumb as a stabilizer. So then I pluck, pull off, and then I pull off again. So to the open string. So we have 3, 2, 0. And then we have the 3rd fret of the E string. So it's going to be pluck, pull, pull. And then a pull off. If you're unfamiliar with a pull off, what basically happens is that this finger is going to drag the string down to the point where it almost strums the string just with that finger. And I feel like if I get a really good pluck like that, then I feel like the pull off comes out a little bit more easily. So the riff will sound like this. Like that. So let's put it in context. So we have our C chord. Like that. You could just play a C chord if you wanted to with the regular finger picking pattern, but I think it adds a lot. So let's try that together. Thumb, fingers, tap, fingers, here we go. C chord. A lot like Christmas. All right, now we have Everywhere You Go. We have a C chord, and it's going to be the same finger picking pattern that I had demonstrated before. Thumb, fingers, tap, fingers. Now I go to an E7. This is interesting because my thumb is going to be moving to this G string, but you'll notice it may be a little different than your ukulele because mine is strung with a wound low G. Yep, my hair's in the way. There we go. Anyone else have that problem where your hair gets in the way? Now my thumb, when it plucks this low G, these 3 fingers, they are going to pluck the C string, the E string, and the A strings, these 3. So instead of these 2, we move to here, so it just sounds more full. And And then A minor, same finger picking pluck pattern. Let's start from the very beginning. C chord, thumb, fingers, tap, fingers, D minor, C chord, riff, C chord, now E7, A minor. Now we have take a look at the 5 and 10, listening once again. We have a D minor. I'm going to pluck the C string and then pluck the A and the E strings together, tap, and then pluck the A and the E strings again. So it'll sound like this. Now I move to a G7, and my thumb is going to move to the G string, and then I'm going to be plucking the A and the E strings like I had previously done for the D minor. So this is the reason why I chose this ukulele with the low G, because I like that anchoring root note. All right, so we have D minor, G7, C chord. My thumb is going to pluck the C string now. And then A minor, thumb will pluck the second fret of the G string. So you see how I'm bouncing between here and here? I'm bouncing between these two strings, the G and the C string, depending upon where the root note is. So the root note is, this would be the second fret of the G string is an A. So if I'm playing an A minor, I want the first note of the chord to ring out. On the G7, plucking the open G string, because that just anchors everything, because it's the root note. It's the start of the chord. So let's try that. We have take a look at the 5 and 10. We start on the D minor, G7, C chord, A minor. Now I love this. We're going to play a D7 this way, and we're going to strum down twice. So I'm going to use the bar chord like this, and then we're going to move up to the 5th fret, and then I'm going to take my middle finger, place it on the 6th fret of the C string. So we're using 2 different D7 variations. It's going to add a lot of interest, a lot of fun. With candy canes and silver lanes. And then we have a G7. And then we slide these 2 fingers down, lift off the index finger to a G diminished 7, and then we slide back to a G7. All right, candy canes and silver lanes aglow. My favorite part. One of them. With candy canes and silver lanes aglow. Yeah? All right, so let's try that. So we have D7, 5th fret, and then we have G7, G diminished, and then G7. Oh, that's fun. All right, let's try from take a look at the 5 and 10. D minor, 2, 3. Take a look at the G7. See, listening once again. Candy canes and silver lanes aglow. Ooh, fun. And then we go back to, it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Beedly-dee-dee-dee. So we repeat that part. But then we get to, it's the prettiest sight to see is the holly that will be at your own front door. So we have our C chord. Now we're going to move to an A7 instead of an A minor. I love that. So I'm plucking the same strings as I did for the C chord. And my thumb is going to pluck the C string, and then these 2 fingers, A and the E strings. D minor, I'm going to pluck the same strings as I previously done for the C and the A7. G7, my thumb is going to move to the G string. Then I have a C chord, and then I move down to a C major 7, and then a C chord. All right. Now we have a pair of hop-along boots and a pistol that shoots. So I have an E7. I'm going to strum twice, and then I'm going to use an alternative E7, bar the 4th fret, and then my middle finger is going to be on the 5th fret of the A string. So just like how we previously done with the D7, where we're bouncing from the lower part of the fretboard to the upper part of the fretboard, we're adding some variation. So let's try that. 2, 3. A pair of hop-along boots and a pistol that shoots is the wish of Barney and Ben. And then we have a D7. This should look familiar. So we have this D7, bar the 2nd fret, middle finger 3rd fret, and then up here bar the 5th fret, middle finger on the 6th fret. Dolly that talkin' will go for the walk. Now we have a G chord. Is the hope of Janice and Jen. Now we add yet another D7 in here. So we have a G chord. I'm going to slide and then stack my middle finger or index finger, doesn't matter, for kind of an island D7, as I've heard it called, where it's 2nd fret open, 2nd fret open, and then slide back to the G, and then G7. Yeah, all right. A pair of hop-along boots, E7, 2, 3. A pair of bar. We have A minor, E7, A minor, D7, 5th fret, and then we have G, open D7, G, G7. We have a mom and dad can hardly wait because school to start again. So, and then here, what we're going to do is we're going to bar the 7th fret, and then we have the middle finger on the 8th fret. See that? Very nice. So you could see that there's some similarities between, you see D7 over here, and you saw this alternative E7 right here, and slide it up to the 7th fret, and then you have the 8th fret. There's a G7. It's a movable bar chord. Nice. So if you have this down, this bar chord, the D7, you really know several more. So it's pretty neat that you have these similar shapes, just different fret. We have, and mom and dad can hardly wait. And we have our G7, school to start again. I used this previously in the beginning of the piece. So we have our G7, G diminished, and then our G7. All right. A pair of hop-along boots. Let's try that all together. 2, 3. E7, hop-along boots and a bar chord that shoots is the wish of Barney and Ben. D7 and then we go 5th fret. G, open D7, G, G7. And mom and dad, now bar, 7th fret. Now we have G7, slide down again, and then we go back to the it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Yeah, and then we have the ending. So we have the prettiest sight to see, will the holly that will be. Oh, and the thing that will make them ring is the carol that will sing right within your heart. All right, so we have our C chord, thumb fingers, tap fingers. A7, now D minor. When I move to the G7, my thumb moves to the G string because that's the root note. Now we have E7 hard, A7. So I just find an E7 and I strum it, and then A7. You can use a couple of the variations that I taught you previously. You could go, and then A minor. Oh, sorry, A7. There it is. That sounds pretty cool. So, and then, pretty. And we have D minor. Sure, it's Christmas. G7. Once. All right, now what am I doing there? You could just strum a D minor if you wanted to, and then a G7. But for a little drama, if you want some drama, Christmas drama. So you're going to take your index finger, the pad of your index finger, and if you're not using a thumb pick, you can also use the pad of your thumb too. And I am just lightly brushing my strings, and then I increase the speed. Now, you may get your fingers caught in the strings. I know some of my students have said, oh, my fingers get caught in the strings. If you bring your finger over more toward here, there's a little less tension than it would be here, but it would be the same concept. You could definitely get this kind of a similar sound. It just may be a little bit easier. And the trick is to not overthink it and to think light brushing. And and to keep this part of your wrist loose. So D minor, sure it's Christmas, G7 ones, and then we have an F, more, and then a F minor, and then we have a little rendition of Jingle Bells. I love that. Okay, so what am I doing there? So first I take my ring finger and I'm going to place that on the 7th fret and I'm going to strum. So everything else is open. Jingle bells. And then I bar the 5th fret, but I leave the G string open. Oh, that's so pretty. I strum that again, and then I reach for my pinky to the 10th fret. So the jingle, and then I have my focus fox fingers 2 and 3 are going to be on the 5th fret of the C and the E strings, and then my index finger on the 3rd fret of the A string. I plant my pinky down, so now I'm 3, 3, 3, open. Oh, I'm sorry, and then I'm 5, 5, 5, open. And then I slide up to the 7th fret, and then I end it. Now if you're feeling extra Olympic, end it with a harmonic on the 5th fret of the C string. All right, a harmonic, what you're going to do is that you're going to place your finger right over the fret, right over the metal bar, and touch the string. And then when you pluck the string, you should hear a ding, 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 ding come out. Now there's some timing that happens when it comes with a harmonic. You want to pluck the string and release your finger on your chording hand at the right time so that the string rings out. And so how I usually teach my students harmonics is that I have them put their finger right over the metal bar. We're not pressing down on the string at all. And I have them pluck it twice so that they can hear it, ding, ding, and then they release on the 3rd one. But once you get the timing down, it's really, really pretty. So if you want to add the just adds a little bit of bing, a little bit of finality there. If you want the finger picking tabs and chord chart that I made for this arrangement, please visit my Patreon page. I'm going to link that in the description box below, as well as a pinned comment. I have phlegm. I'm sure you wanted to know that. It's a good thing that there's editing and you don't have to know that. Or maybe I'll just leave it in because this is real life. It's like 5 in the morning right now. So let's try that whole thing together. Good luck to me. The E7, stinker.